This episode of Notch 6 is brought to you by the Madison Poster Company and the Lionel D145 Dealer Display Poster. This colorful and exciting 7-foot poster is now available exclusively from the Madison Poster Company. Bring the classic look and feel of a Lionel showroom to your train room. The Lionel D145 Dealer Poster is available at madisonposter.com for immediate ordering. Again, that website is madisonposter.com. It's the Notch 6 online podcast, episode number 32. In this episode, your sleep-deprived host catches up with Al Colas and Dennis DeVito from the Lionel Collectors Club of America. We talk about their brand new e-membership. We talk about the Indianapolis National Convention that's just around the corner. And we discuss the possible consequences of jumping the fence at Amtrak's Beech Grove shops and making our way onto the property. All this and more just ahead on this episode of Notch 6.
This is the Notch 6 online podcast. Notch 6 is the podcast dedicated to O-gauge trains. Whether you're collecting, operating, or just getting started, Notch 6 is your home for O-gauge news, events, and interviews. Now here is your host, Derek Thomas.
Well, welcome to the Notch 6 podcast, the only online radio show dedicated to the world of O-gauge trains. You know, we're the guys with the 3 rails. Now, I say that there's some of us that have 2 rails that are O-scale, but you know how it goes. Anyway, we're going where no O-gauge radio show has ever gone before because nobody else has dared to do a podcast about O-gauge trains. Welcome to the show. I'm Derek Thomas, your host. Glad to have you here for episode number 32. And I alluded to a couple of things at the top of the show. Number one, I am sleep deprived. I am a brand new father. I'm very excited about that. Welcomed our son Henry into the world on May 3rd at just after midnight. And the past few weeks have been an adventure, to say the least, but a great adventure. And so adjusting to life as a father has been interesting. Adjusting to a not-so-regular sleep pattern has been interesting. Adjusting to having to get up a few times in the middle of the night has been interesting. But overall, it's been a great experience so far, and I'm sure you'll hear Henry as he grows up make his way onto the podcast. And as soon as he can talk, I'm sure we'll hear from Henry and get his thoughts on the world of O-gauge trains. He has already been down to the basement and seems to enjoy watching the trains, doesn't fuss about it. So he'll come and sleep in my arms while I run trains and seems to be pretty content doing that. And when he is awake, likes to get down close to the tracks and watch the trains go by. And so yeah, so far so good. We'll see. I tell you what, if there is a perfect setting for a kid to become a fan of O-gauge trains, this is going to be it. He's getting the best possible exposure to this hobby, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm one of those people that I believe in, you know, as he grows up, whatever he wants to do for a hobby is fine by me. You know, I was lucky enough that I was raised in a family that my family, my dad and you know, grandparents didn't have any interest in this hobby, but when they saw the interest develop in me, they got right behind it and encouraged me to stay with it. And you know, that's opened so many doors as I've walked through life, and it's a lot of the reason, you know, my day job deals with O-gauge trains. We do Notch 6, we do Madison Poster, you know, and it stems from that encouragement that came from my parents and grandparents and so many other people in my life. And so I really am a firm believer in, if a kid wants to go out and do something, whether it's O-gauge trains, whether it's RC airplanes, whether it's plane sports, I'm a firm believer in encouraging, you know, those things that kids are passionate about. And so I'm excited to get the chance to do this now as a father. And like I said, we'll see what happens. But he's going to have an awful good chance to like trains, and we'll just see what happens. So that's been the bulk of my life since the last episode, is getting ready for him to come and his actual arrival, and now, like I said, adjusting to life as a father. Other news that's going on the road to the LCCA National Convention, our modular section has actually been out of the house for a few weeks as it traveled down to Mr. Muffin's Trains in Carmel at the beginning of May for an open house event that they were having. So the bench work is out of the house right now, but it should be back in the house pretty quick, and then we'll continue to work on scenery. Now, what has transpired since the last episode in terms of what we're going to do is I kind of have a plan together now. The module is going to feature a station scene with a modified Lionel station kit platform, some nice lighting, and it's been relatively well detailed, at least by my standards. Now, to some other people, it may not be that detailed, but I think I did an okay job, so we'll see what everybody else thinks. Not only will it have a station scene, but the other plan, and we'll see if this comes to fruition, is I'm going to try and get a hold of one of the Lionel radio towers that had a built-in FM radio, and so I'm trying to source one of those right now, and the plan is that radio tower will sit on our section of the layout during shows, and we'll actually be having episodes of Notch 6 transmitted through that radio tower, and so that'll play out over the layout, and hopefully that all comes to fruition, but I need to find a good Lionel FM radio tower, and I need to find one cheap. So therein lies my challenge. But other than that, the scenery is coming together. I should have the module back here at the house before too long, and we'll start doing ground cover and all that fun stuff, and actually wiring lights into the scenery and all that good stuff. So I think I'm on schedule. We'll see what happens. Other news before we get into this episode, and no news desk this time just because I haven't had time to get any news with Henry being here, so it's going to be no news desk this time. We're going to jump straight into the interview really quick, but one thing I wanted to mention real quick is sponsorship of this podcast. If you are a hobby retailer or somebody in the industry that listens to this show and you believe in the mission of what this podcast is doing, and you're looking for a way to get your product out to a very core group of enthusiasts and in a very affordable way, I encourage you to drop me a line at notch6, NOTCHSIX @gmail.com, and talk to me about sponsoring the show. We're at a point now where the reality is I would like to pick up a few sponsors for the show. The show does cost money. It is not free, never has been free, but I believe in the mission of what we're doing here, and in all reality, to do some bigger things, it would be nice to have a little bit of cash coming in to support those things. So, I'm not one to sit here and bang the tin cup and say, pay us, pay us, pay us, but I think what we can do is offer interested parties who would be interested in sponsoring the show a neat little outlet to get the word out there, very affordably, I might add, and it'll also help further the mission of this show so we can go out and do bigger things as they become available. Okay, so that's it. If you want to sponsor the show, drop me a line at notchsix @gmail.com. And now, on to the main event for this show. Al Colas and Dennis DeVito from the Lionel Collectors Club of America talking about all things LCCA from the first half of 2014 and what's coming down the pipe for the rest of 2014. We spent a fair amount of time talking about the new e-membership program, the Indianapolis National Convention, and some other fun things. And so it's a really good listen, especially if you're an LCCA member. This is a great way to find out what's going on inside of your club, what's new, what's happened this year, and what's coming down the pipe. So, without any further ado, it's the LCCA 2014 update on Notch 6.
This is the Notch 6 online podcast, your home for O-Gauge news, events, and interviews. Here again is Derek Thomas.
Welcome back to the Notch 6 online podcast, or radio for O-Gauge, as some of you guys like to call it. It's hard to believe we're really basically 5 months into 2014, and we haven't heard much from our friends at the LCCA yet, so we thought we would take this show to catch up with our friends Dennis DeVito, president of the Lionel Collectors Club of America, and Al Colas, the man behind all of the wonderful special events that the LCCA puts on every year. Guys, it's good to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Glad to be with you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek, and we're excited to be part of the program.
You guys might as well be the two other amigos. We're like the three O-Gauge amigos because we do so many shows a year together now that you guys might as well be, I don't know, ceremonial co-host or something like that. I feel like we get you guys on the show enough that everybody should be pretty familiar with you guys by now. But we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. let's kick this show off. Really, what we're going to do is we're going to look a little bit at 2014 in review so far, and then we're going to look ahead at what the rest of 2014 looks like for the LCCA. Dennis, we're going to start off with you. One of the big things, and we kind of touched on this last month, was this brand new e-membership category that the LCCA is offering to its members. Can you kind of give us a brief recap of what e-membership is and how the members benefit from that category?
Sure, Derek. The club's decided that there's a whole group of folks who approach the hobby differently. And if you've been reading some of the presidential reports we've had and some of the newsletters we've had, we've been striving on this whole concept of the hobby is alive, it's just different. It's changing and it's evolving. And one of the things we know is that there's a whole segment of our population that enjoys reading and getting their information off the net. And to those group of people, we want to service their interest in the hobby the way they want to receive it, and that's through a digital format. And we've defined the electronic membership as essentially a digital membership, similar to other magazines. But in our case, we've been able to share with the electronic member some of the cost saves we get from not printing and not distributing the magazines. It's important here, Derek, and I want to stress this very clearly to our existing member base. If you're a regular member, there's no change. Nothing changes at all. Everything is the same. We're working on getting you more benefits, not taking anything away. But if you're a new member and you want to join the club a little differently than a regular member, you have that option. You've got the option to come in and become a electronic member, and we will reduce the cost of the membership to you and allow you to have all the benefits of a regular member, but without the distribution of the hard copy, either the interchange track or the Lion Roars.
When people make the switch to this membership, if they choose to, and we need to stress, this is only if you want to change to this membership, what kind of cost savings are we talking on a yearly basis?
Well, we're able to offer the electronic membership for $25 a year. That's a reduction of $10 from a regular membership. And that's the approximate cost to print and distribute the magazines. So it's percentage-wise, it's significant savings. My feel is that a lot of folks, I can speak for myself here, Derek, and a lot of the people I deal with, we want that magazine. We want to have that magazine. We want to hold it. We want to mark it up. We want to do what we do with it. And therefore, I don't expect a lot of people to move. So it's really not a dues reduction as such, but it's the opportunity to reduce your cost of the hobby and in the club. And if you are interested in that way, it truly is a dues reduction to get the membership online and not get the hard copy. So for that member, from his perspective, it's a reduction in dues.
Now, how do e-members go about getting their copy of the Lion Roars and the other LCCA publications?
Well, we're modeling pretty much after the Lionel website, and if you recall, they have all their magazines going back from the day they started are posted on the Lionel website. We will do something similar, so we'll always have the prior magazines. The current magazine would be announced to the electronic members, and they then can go to our website and view the magazine. But they would have access, a continual history of that of the issues from here forward in a format that works for the electronic membership.
Very neat. And one of the other things you guys are doing, you guys are protecting the members. The online issue is not just a free-for-all. It is behind a member-only section, correct?
That is correct. We've had some PDF files of the magazines that have been available in front of our firewall where the public can view them. As we go to this new format, we're going to put the new releases of the magazine behind the firewall, so they would be considered member content, and then you'd have access to them if you're a regular member or an electronic member. But you'd have to have a member password to get to the magazines.
Al, I want to specifically ask you, because you and I talk quite a bit about the LCCA being a progressive club, how do you feel that e-membership is going to affect the future of the LCCA?
Well, Derek, I think it'll play a significant role in maintaining and the sustainability of our club. Again, as we talked before, my generation, we're familiar with and we like reading newspapers. We like hands-on material. But there's a whole new generation of people that have never, ever purchased a newspaper in their lives. That's not how they receive information. That's not their mode of life. They almost look at a hard copy publication as being socially irresponsible and not friendly to the environment. So we look at this as another tool in the toolbox and play a significant role to reaching out and attracting a younger generation, a different group of people, and welcoming them into the hobby. So it's another communication tool. I think it's a cost-effective way of communicating, and allows us a lot more flexibility and different options moving forward. There's some things that we can do, promotional with certain special groups, junior members or other organizations as we move forward. So I think it's very significant. I appreciate Dennis DeVito and the board of directors committing the resources to make this happen. It took a significant investment to allow us the mechanism with our website to do this. The members are going to have an opportunity to read all our publications in a password-protected environment, and it's everything plus. So I'm excited about it, and I think it's going to play a significant role in our long-term success of the club.
And something that I think is important to mention here, in a day and age where the cost of membership to most toy train or train related organization continues to increase, it's kind of refreshing to see the LCCA offering a way to decrease what we're spending. A lot of us are being forced to increase our dues in a lot of other arenas. And for me, I know I'm making the jump to the e-membership when my renewal comes in July because, for me, that's an extra $10 that I can spend on trains or somewhere else where I want to. So for me, I think it's a great idea personally. I come from that generation that, we read on tablets, iPhones, things like that. I rarely, if ever, purchase a newspaper. So for those of you who are wondering who this is aimed at, I guess they're kind of shooting at me. We'll see what happens. One of the other things that I want to mention, and we have talked about this off the air, is you guys are working very hard to make sure that this is tablet compatible as well. And that's one of the things that I know has been a concern, is that especially when catalogs are being delivered in a digital format, you want to be able to read these on a tablet. And I know the LCCA is looking at that concern and doing everything they can to address that as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Very good. Dennis, something else I want to talk with you about is the new LCCA poll question. Although it's not new now, you guys have been at this a few months, and we touched briefly on this during last month's episode about these poll questions. Let's dive a little bit deeper into what these poll questions are. Tell me a little bit about the idea behind this.
Well, it's a man I admire an awful lot, Derek, told me one time, don't believe your own story. And it turns out that as you make decisions and as leading the club and the board and all of the volunteers that are involved in the club are making decisions on a regular basis, and we're making these decisions based on what we think or what we feel. And it came up at a board meeting, and the board basically says, let's send out a questionnaire. And that evolved over time, saying, why send out one questionnaire when we have a bunch of questionnaires basically at no cost? So we've been putting a poll question, actually a series of questions, on our website now for a couple months, and we've been getting a wonderful feedback. Members are actually telling us what they think. They're sharing with us hard decisions, things like what type of car would they like to see for a convention car. I mean, this has always been left to a bunch of guys who make a decision and hope the membership likes it. And now we're trying to turn that around. Let's get the membership to tell us what they like. What do they like about the magazine? What do they like about the club benefits? What benefit would they like to see? Which benefit do we offer that might not be of importance to folks? And there's a fun aspect to it also. One of the questions we asked was, how much time do you spend in your at any one session with your trains? I was surprised at the answer. Or what is your minimum curve? Or what is your longest straightaway? Fun questions, just to compare yourself against your associates. And it's run the full gamut. It's some very serious questions about benefits, serious questions about funding. It goes to the fun questions, the interesting questions. And in between, we ask about the website and the hobby and how people feel about it. And we're getting some really interesting feedback, and it's been building in popularity.
Can you tell me some of the things that have come out of these questions? You've mentioned a couple of things have surprised you. What little things that you have noticed that you didn't expect?
Well, I didn't expect that most people spend less than 2 hours in a train session. Got to be honest with you. The other thing that came as a surprise to me that of all the various aspects of the train hobby, and we have a lot. We've got scenery, we've got electronics, we've got control systems, we've got scratch building, we've got maintenance, we've got all different types of things that go on in the hobby that you can subdivide us into. Operating and collecting were 1 and 2 and took up almost all the votes. And so while we have a lot of different things happening, it still gets back to the basics. People like to run trains. And as I recall, when I started in the hobby 35, 40 years ago, collecting was far more prevalent than it is today. Today, people are running trains. So that particular belief was confirmed by our membership voting for this one question. So if you're going to sell a car, or you're going to offer a benefit to a member, you have to target those members who are running trains.
Very interesting. Now, all of the poll questions that we've had to date, those answers are still available on the website, which is lionelcollectors.org. How do you find the current poll question and the answers to previous poll questions on the website?
Well, the poll question is on the crossbuck on our homepage. The answers can be found by going into the Other News tab, and you'll be able to find going back through the history, you'll be able to find the other answers. So for every poll question we've ever asked, we've got the question and all of the responses. So we're sharing the responses back with the membership. This isn't something we're taking and keeping for ourselves. We're sharing this back with the membership in the interest of full disclosure, in the interest of having fun, of building a dialogue with the member, so a member feels confident when they put a comment on that poll, or if they answer a question, that question isn't being used in some mysterious way. We believe in transparency in terms of the poll distribution and the poll question and how people respond to it. So it's open to all members, both the opportunity to take the poll and the opportunity to review what others are looking at.
Derek, I think another key aspect of this poll question is this is an effort on our part to maintain our member focus and ultimately turn this into how can we make the club better? How can we add more value to our members? So we really want members, non-members to let us know what they're thinking, so we can help enhance and make the club more enjoyable for our members. And that's something that's very important to us.
Very interesting. Do you guys think that you're going to ask some of the same questions on an annual basis and track what those results look like over a period of time?
Well, that's interesting. One of the things, just establishing a poll question, you learn there are different ways to ask questions. And we are trying to be as forthright and honest and open as we can. And as you come back and repeat a question in a different format, you'll see some of our questions are reoccurring in different formats. To be honest about that particular question, I haven't thought much about it. But it's certainly something we would like to work with. And building on what El's talking to, we believe the LCCA is inclusive. And to that end, and what you're saying here about repeating questions, it's an effort to get back to the members so that they can get back to us and feel like they're actually part of the club. They're not just pay their dues and sit back and not participate. We want to let them participate in some of the decision-making process.
Something else that I want to point out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be, but the way I understand it, when we talk about being inclusive as a club, as the LCCA, if you're not an LCCA member, from what I understand, you can participate in these poll questions as well. Is that right?
That is correct. We do ask if you are not a member, you identify yourself as not a member. But we certainly welcome their input. and hopefully, if they take this poll, they'll realize the benefits of the club and join up and become part of us.
Absolutely. That's always what we want, is the club to expand, because let's be honest, the more members there are, the more we can do as a club. And that's TCA, LCCA, any toy train club. The more members there are, the more that you're able to do. So I encourage people to get over to the LCCA website, check out the poll questions. I think you guys have mentioned that there's a lot of great information there, and I think you're going to be surprised by a lot of the answers as well. So if you're looking for an interesting read, it's at lionelcollectors.org. Al, we're going to switch gears and talk about special events leading up to the National Convention in July. Give me kind of a short recap of what's gone on this year since the year started, and what you're looking forward to this year.
Well, Derek, the response from our members have been so overwhelmingly positive that it's just amazing to me. I'm receiving emails, phone calls from members all over the country who are looking and expressing an interest in hosting an LCCA special event in their area. It's been phenomenal. And the interesting thing is there's no set formula for a LCCA special event. Every special event is unique and exciting and appealing to different members' interests, different appeals. We've had numerous special events. We had 2 events in Kennesaw, Georgia, with the Southern Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History. We had activities that were primarily focused for our junior membership program there. We had a Train event, and then we had an activity associated with the Autism Speaks organization out of Atlanta. And again, we just had a lot of positive feedback and response and attendance by those members. We had a unique experience where members were able to go on a train excursion pulled behind a Pierre Marquette 1225. Now, there were some complications on the trip due to last-minute MDOT safety regulations. They wouldn't let the train run for the entire length of the excursion. So we had to shorten the run, and they were able to experience the steam locomotive on the way back and in the yard in Owasso, Michigan. Again, it's a really unique opportunity for our members to enjoy and experience a different aspect of the club. We're doing a lot of things with the LCCA Lionel Fast Track Modular Railroad activity. Again, we look at this as another tool in the toolbox. How do we attract new members? How do we keep the hobby relevant? How do we, people that maybe don't have the space for a layout in their home, how do you get somebody who purchases a starter set to go and take the next step and have more of a permanent layout? This may not be for everyone, but it's another tool that people can utilize to do that. It's a great social event. If everybody can bring their modules together and as a club, get together and have fun operating their trains, doing some things with, special charitable organizations, kids. It's basically walking the talk. Everybody talks about attracting younger members. How do you reach out? How do you be more inclusive? So the LCCA is walking the talk. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and we're trying to promote and foster an interest in Lionel trains. We have numerous special events that are going to be scheduled throughout the convention week, and we can talk about that as well. After the convention, we're in the planning stages right now, where we're targeting October 11th, where we're going to have as part of our 45th anniversary, have a special guest appearance in speech by former owner of Lionel, Richard Kughn. That's going to be in the Dearborn, Michigan area. So that's something we're very excited about. There's just so many unique aspects to the special events program that I encourage you to go to the special event tab on our website, www.lionelcollectors.org. Check it out. If there's not something in your area and you have an interest, please contact me. My email is agcolas@comcast.net. Cell phone number is 248-709-4137. It's your club. We want you to get involved, and we're having special events in almost over half the states in our great country.
And just as a disclaimer, please don't send Al spam email or dial his cell phone number late at night, because that really is his cell phone number and that really is his email, and he reads and listens to all of those. So be kind and don't call Al at like 3 a.m, because he really will pick up and he's not going to be happy.
And thank you, Derek. And as far as that payment that we were talking about as being part of the program, could you just add another 0 to my salary?
Yeah.
On the other side of the decimal point, right?
Because we're all getting rich doing this, and that's what the big secret about Notch 6 is we are all getting filthy rich. Yes, indeed. Now, one of the things that I'm really excited to talk about, I've been stoked about this since they announced this last year. We are on the road to the LCCA National Convention in my backyard of Indianapolis, Indiana. By far, Indianapolis is a wonderful area to do this at. We're excited to have you guys. It's coming very, very, very soon. Did I mention that this is just around the corner? Dennis, let's talk about the convention. What's planned? What surprises do you guys have? I'm just so excited about this. I want to hear from you.
Well, Derek, the first thing I can tell you about the convention, it surprised us more than it surprised you. The response to this convention has been overwhelming. The registration gift is pretty much all sold out. We've had 400 people register. The response from the membership has been phenomenal, and we're trying to actually understand what we did right to warrant such a wonderful response. We know we have good tours. We know we have a good city. We know the club has been progressing in a lot of areas. We've got a very loyal membership, and the membership has responded. The Indianapolis convention is going to be a superb convention. From attendance, from tours, the tours are exceptional. We've had some tours sell out in hours, and right now we've got a lot of wonderful tours left, but many of the tours have very few seats left, and a few have actually sold out. We've done all the good things that we did in the past, and we're doing a couple more this year. There'll be a couple of surprises. There will be some wonderful new games and exciting things to do. But we haven't given up on the President's Reception on Sunday night, a wallet-friendly free admission event for those people taking the train ride on Monday. We've got the first-timers dinner for people who haven't been to a convention or haven't been for one for a number of years. They're welcome to come to the first-timers convention, a first-timers meeting. We still have our Get Acquainted party on Thursday. A number of surprises there in terms of entertainment and a few of the activities we got going on. Friday, of course, is the club business meeting, the Lionel seminar, and of course the train floor is open to members only. And on Saturday we open to the public. And as you recall, Derek, we put a big pickle jar out, and there's no fee, but we do ask donations, which are given to the local community hospital, Children's Hospital. And in the evening on Saturday, we have our banquet. So we've got the wonderful things we've enjoyed in the past. We've got a couple of new items, and won't let you in on all of them at this point. But the convention has been well received. We're excited. We know it's going to be successful, and we're looking forward to it.
One of the things that I want to talk with you about, and I've been working on this for a few months now, actually since Fall York of last year, one of the big things that we're pushing is bringing together the LCCA modular layout in a way it's never been done before, and we're going to do it right here in Indianapolis. Tell me about the vision for the LCCA modular layout when it comes to Indianapolis for the National Convention.
Well, we believe, Derek, that the seeds that were planted a year ago, and if you remember, this went from a concept to a product inside of 5 months, and we had all over our website the open architecture for the construction of modulars, and it's been taken off. We've got a number of different modules around the country, and what we're encouraging all members to do is to bring a module to Indy, where we will put together as large a layout as we can. We've got the room in Indy, and we're hoping that members will bring a module. I understand you're working on one, Derek.
I am, and I have the bench work finished. Some of the scenery is done, and the plan is to have a fully operational module slipped into the layout in Indianapolis. And what I'm going to tell people, and you've heard this in the last few shows, it's not too late to start. These kits are incredibly user-friendly, and we've talked about this on the show, so I won't go into too much detail. They're incredibly user-friendly. Anybody with basic hardware skills can put them together. And I tell you what, it's a neat way to not only get involved, but to meet people too, because as we start linking these modules together at the convention, you may meet somebody who's linked next to you that you've never met before, but you guys have an instant bond over this layout. This is your layout. This is the club's layout. And I just think it's such a neat idea that we're going to have people from all over the United States bringing these modules together to create this one incredible Lionel layout that I hope is much, much bigger than whatever Lionel brings from North Carolina. I think we can be bigger than them. I think we can be better than them. And I would like to dwarf their layout with whatever we put together at this convention. So that's my call out to you as an LCCA member, is to get involved, build a module. Let's put Lionel to shame, because that just sounds like fun.
Derek, rumor has it there might be a prize for the best decorated module.
Ooh, I like the idea. Let's spice it up with a little competition too. I like that even more.
Derek,
so yeah, there's more incentive.
See the Notch 6 podcast module. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
I'm just hoping I have enough time to finish it with this new kid running around the house. We'll see how that all goes, but that's a different story. Al, let's switch gears over to special events, and I've got to get something out there before we go too far into this. Dennis mentioned that some of the tours have already sold out, and I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little left out. The Beech Grove Amtrak Shop Tour sold out in 31 hours. Not even 2 full days, and this shop tour sold out. Now, I have tried organizing a mob of people to go jump the fence with me at Beech Grove, but I've been told the folks at Amtrak don't take too kindly to that, and that we will be shot or hurt on site. So for those of you that were thinking of jumping the fence with me to get into Beech Grove, let's not and say we did. Anyway,
Derek, on that point as well, although a lot of the tours are sold out and it's been a phenomenal level of interest, there are still plenty of tours, plenty of activities. There's no reason not to attend the convention. We're welcoming and inviting people to sign up on site. We have a lot of free clinics and seminars and family fun activities scheduled throughout the week. There are more than just the tours. Yes, we have some great tours. We still have spaces available, but there's plenty of things to do. Just because 1 or 2 tours or some of the tours that you may have an interest on are sold out, don't use that as an excuse not to come to the convention. There's still so many fun things to do, and we're also, Derek, like you, married with children. We recognize and understand that if our wives aren't happy, we're not happy. So we placed an emphasis on having a variety of tours of interest for the entire family. We have activities scheduled throughout the week that are designated for people, young. We have our junior membership program. We're going to have special activities. We're going to have the Lionel Battle Trains iPad game going on in a room. So there's going to be activities throughout the week. Please go to our website, find out information. We have a surplus hotel accommodations if need be. If the Marriott East Hotel is fully sold out and booked, then we have other arrangements available to our members. So don't get discouraged. Keep going back to our website for new information and updates about our activities. Things are moving very fast in our organization.
Right, and I think that's important to focus on what we can't do, but what we can do. And there's so much left to do that is still available to the members that, I think there's still seats available for the 765 excursion. I mean, there's plenty to do. And to be honest, even if you don't go on any of the tours, we encourage you to go on tours. But even if you stay back at the hotel, you've got to remember, you're in the middle of the biggest Lionel convention in the United States. There's always something happening at the hotel. There's always somebody to sit and talk to. Trust me, even if you can't make some of the tours, the camaraderie and the events that are happening at the hotel are worth the price all by themselves.
Trains, and more trains. If you like Lionel trains, you're going to love our convention. Lionel plays a very active role in our conventions. They bring in an entire group of people there. They're planning on bringing their layout and displays. So they'll be set up, from Tuesday through Saturday of the convention week. The team is there to interact, and you'll get hands-on experience and just meeting with the Lionel team, learning about their new Lion Chief product. They're readily available, and they're all about having fun, running trains all week long. That's what we'll be doing. Trains, planes, automobiles, they kind of go hand in hand. I think we have 3 different train excursions planned for the convention. How often will you get a chance to ride behind the 765 with Rich Melvin at the helm? It's a golden opportunity. We also have a tour that happens to be sold out. Coincidentally, we're going to, on the 27th, which is the Sunday after our convention, we have a special event at the NASCAR race, the Brickyard 400. And it's also of interest is Lionel. Their other core business is the NASCAR diecast products. That is they are a NASCAR sponsor, so they're very involved with the NASCAR business. So we're going to have a lot of different. We're working with Lionel to have a lot of different surprises in that arena. So if you like cars, NASCARs, there's automotive things of interest. So it's just a lot of good old-fashioned, genuine fun.
Derek, let me chime in. The NASCAR, the sales of NASCAR diecast is owned by Lionel, and they're at our convention. You think there might be a connection? You think there might be a surprise?
Maybe.
We're counting on one.
I tell you what, I have heard some conversations behind closed doors that I can't talk about, and it's fun to tease things. You need to come to this convention. I don't know how many more times I can stress that. And like I said, we're excited to have you guys in Indiana. It's basically the heartland. We treat people nice here. At least we think we do. We want everybody to come to Indiana. If you like trains, especially O-Gauge, you need to be here. And I'm not saying that, the LCCA supports this show, but I believe in what the LCCA is doing. I believe in the mission of this club, and that's why I support the LCCA so strongly. And I really do think, if you guys have any way to make it to Indiana and make it to Indianapolis this summer, we're excited to have you there. Now, something we've done last year that we're doing again this year for people who can't make it to Indianapolis is the podcast all week from the convention. Let's talk a little bit about that, Al. What do we have on tap?
Well, Derek, we're planning on having a daily recap of our day and give people an update on what our members have been doing on site and what's planned for the next day. Obviously, it's very dynamic, and we have planned surprises, and at that point in time, we can divulge the nature of those. So we plan on having a daily podcast with members from Lionel, members from the LCCA, different people, such as Roger Farkas of TW Trainworks, premier layout builder and member of our board. There's going to be something unique and different every night. Ed Boyle from OGR will be giving an interview as well. So, and we're working with Rich Melvin as well. They are our featured guest speakers on our clinics for Monday night. So, the podcast is going to be a very exciting way for our members who aren't able to attend and participate to be part of our convention. Derek, I also want to talk about a couple of special events that we have planned for different times in the convention week. As you know, we're going to have the Lionel layout and display set up in the Atrium lobby from Tuesday through Saturday. We're going to have an open train show on Saturday. It's going to be open to the public from 9 to 3 p.m. There is free admission. Donations will be accepted to benefit the Riley Hospital for Children. So that's something that's a golden opportunity. We're going to have various train layouts from different local organizations that will be operating their trains and having them on display there. On Wednesday, July 23rd in the morning, we're going to have the LCCA Day in Indianapolis. Again, we're going to invite a Make-A-Wish Foundation child to be the honorary engineer for the day at the Lionel layout. We're going to invite representatives from the city of Indianapolis. In years past, we've had the mayor come and be part of the grand opening of the Lionel layout. On Thursday, I'm very excited. We're going to have another Autism Awareness Day, where we're inviting a group of autistic children and their families to come and enjoy and experience the magic of Lionel trains. They're going to be given tours of the Lionel layout. We're going to have different setups. So depending upon what their ages are and what their level of interest and attention and abilities, we'll have a variety of layouts in action, from the Lionel lines, the battery-powered sets on the floor for the youngest children, to the Lion Chief sets where the older kids can operate the remote control, and then as well, even the older kids that can operate the conventional transformer sets. So it's going to be hands-on, interactive, just a good, fun event. So those are a few of the special events that we have planned. There's going to be more surprises as we move forward. But again, please attend, participate, and I guarantee it, you'll have fun.
Let's wrap this show up with something.
Derek, if I may add a little bit about some product we're offering.
Absolutely.
Is that where you were going with that comment?
That's exactly where I was going.
We ended up with the ability and the opportunity to offer 4 Midwest cars to our members this year. The convention car for 2014 is the Monon car. It in fact sold out, the Monon operating box car. For the registration gift, we've got a fantasy South Shore interurban, really a bump-and-go trolley for the first 400 members who stay in the host hotel. We also have a on-site car. It's a Wabash flat car, and the Lionel folks were good enough to offer us 4 unique die-cast automobiles to put on that car. And there will be a companion car, reverse colors, Wabash, sold at the 45th anniversary. One of the announcements we're going to make, and it's a surprise, so don't tell anyone, at the convention in Indy, we are going to announce the start of our 45th year, and we're going to have a year-long celebration with a number of surprises in terms of product offerings and other special events and activities between the close of the Indy convention and the Boston convention. So we were fortunate to be able to offer 4 Midwest cars to our membership this year. The on-site car, for the first time, we offered to members who were registered but did not attend. And that was because we had received comments from members who said, gee, I'd love to have the on-site car, but for a lot of reasons I can't make the convention. We said, okay, if you want to register for the convention, you can buy the on-site car. So this is a first in the recent history of the club to offer an on-site car to somebody who really wasn't there but did register and as part of the convention is eligible for that car.
Very neat. And like I said, I feel like a broken record saying this. There are so many reasons for you to come to Indianapolis that there's no reason not to come. And we're going to cover it from top to bottom here on Notch 6, and we're excited to do it. As usual, there's so many great things going on within the LCCA. Al, Dennis, thanks so much for being here. And we're going to hear plenty from you guys in July, and it's just around the corner. Thanks for being here again, guys.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek. And remember, notch6.com.
Okay, a couple programming notes before we get out of here. Number 1, I was completely kidding about jumping the fence at Beech Grove. Please don't take that seriously. Please don't call Amtrak, and please don't tell them I was thinking about jumping the fence. I promise I'm not going to jump the fence. Okay, number 2, Al got paid really, really good money for that mention of notch6.com at the end of the show there. And if you'd like to get paid really, really good money to mention Notch 6, well, you're just going to have to wait a little bit. But the one thing you can do for us if you enjoy the show is get on iTunes and Stitcher, if that's how you choose to listen to the show, and leave us a review. The more positive reviews we get, the more positive ratings the show gets, and the better we do in the ratings, the more people listen to the show. It's one big happy circle of life. So reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, or anywhere else that is involved in model trains are always appreciated. If you leave a review and I find out about it, I'll probably give you a nice shout out on the show. So that's always appreciated. And, today, I just feel like giving a shout out at the end of the show. Shout out today goes to Marty Ebeck, who is the head of the Lionel Legacy Users Breakfast at York every year. Marty has always done a great job of covering all the Legacy developments, and I appreciate everything he does for the hobby and for those of us that run Legacy, and I know that he listens to the show. So shout out to you, Marty. Thanks for everything you do, and can't wait to have breakfast with you guys in the fall. Okay, that's it for this episode of Notch 6. Don't forget, reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Feel free to drop me an email at notch6, notchsix, @gmail.com. Questions, comments, or upcoming news. We'll be back with a show in June, and then as we head into July, boy, you're going to get more Notch 6 than you ever bargained for in July as we cover a full week of the LCCA convention. Until then, folks, keep it in Notch 6.
Thanks for listening to Notch 6. You can find us on Facebook for all the latest news and previews of our next show. Be sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes so you'll receive the show as soon as it's posted. If you have any questions or comments, email notch6@gmail.com. That's notchsix@gmail.com. We'll see you again soon. Until then, be sure to keep it in Notch 6.